Mendel laws. So let me explain about Mendel. Mendel is a person, is a renowned scientist, and who is known as the father or the founder of genetics, because he did a lot of experiments with the help of the plant, that is the garden pea plant Pisum sativum. So he did his experiment, is called hybridization experiment, and year between 1856 to 1863 he has conducted a lot of experiment, and he proposed 3 important laws. So those laws are called as the Mendel law of inheritance, as laws of inheritance. He proposed 3 laws. Those 3 laws are laws of dominance, law of segregation, and law of independent assortment. So these are 3 laws are there. One is the law of dominant. The law of dominant proposed by Mendel, it explains that when 2 homozygous individuals with 1 or more set of contrasting characters are crossed. That means, so here this is the monohybrid cross. Here you can observe that the 2 homozygous individuals are there. Capital T, this homozygous. This is small t, homozygous. So how we can tell it is homozygous? If both the alleles are like this, it is called homozygous. If this is going to be like this, it is called as heterozygous. So here, this 2 were homozygous crosses. When they cross it, the F1 generation, the characters are appear in F1 generation are called as dominant character. Character that is not expressed are called as recessive character. When here he crossed the tall plant, capital T with the dwarf plant small t, what he has obtained here, it is capital T small t, the plant is tall. So why the plant has become tall? Because this particular character, capital T, it is a dominant character. That is the reason why all the plants were tall in F1 generations. So here, whereas in F1 generation, the small t, that is the dwarf character, is not expressed. The dwarf character is not expressed here, the dwarf, because it is recessive in nature. So the F1, in the F1 hybrid, the first filial generation, which character is expressed is known as the dominant character, which is not expressed is known as recessive character. That is what is explained in laws of dominant. When 2 homozygous individuals with 1 or more set of contrasting characters are crossed, the characters that appear in F1 hybrid are called dominant, and which do not appear in F1 are called as recessive character. Next we will learn about the law of segregation. The law of segregation. So segregation means separable, that is called segregation. So here in the same experiment in the monohybrid cross, when pair of contrasting factors, genes are allelomorph, are brought together. So here this is a different gene, this is a different gene. When both are brought together, they remain together without separating or without mixing. For example here, so this is the character what he has obtained. So he has taken a tall plant with capital T, and he has crossed with a dwarf plant which is small t. And while crossing the gametes here, it is capital T and this is small t. So when he crossed it, it will be capital T and small t. So this is the F1. In the F1, he has got the allelic pairs together. This is a tall, this is a dwarf, but they are together. In that plant, the plant is tall plant, where they are remains together, but they are not mixed. They are still, they are segregate till they are separate. When they produce the gametes, when this it has to produce the gamete, what they will do it, they will separate it out. So for example, if you cross this, so this gamete it has to be capital T, this gamete it has to be small t. So when they are separating, they will separate it in such a way that they are not at all mixed, and one enters each gamete. So here, when the ratio what is obtained in F2, so capital T small t, capital T small t. When you did the checkerboard here, So, capital T, capital T, capital T, small t, capital T, small t, small t, small t. So, this is the classical example to explain about law of segregation. These are the same gametes they obtained from F2. So, these gametes are exactly from F2, sorry F1, they are obtained from F1. In the F2 generation, if you see it here, this plant is tall, this plant is tall, this plant is tall, whereas this plant is dwarf. So, according to law of dominance, the character that is expressed in F1 is called as a dominant character. And whereas here in this F2 generation, we can see that even recessive characters also appeared. So, how this recessive character appeared? Because of law of segregation. So, that tells that when a pair of contrasting factors or genes are allelomorph means contrasting pair of characteristics. When they are brought together in a heterozygote or hybrid, so this is an hybrid, the two members of the allelic pair. So, this is capital T is a tall plant, small t is recessive plant. So, they remain together without mixing. When they form the gamete, we can see it here, they can separate, they can easily separate, and they can able to form the characteristic individually. So, capital T, capital T, capital T, small t, capital T, and small t, they can form the separate characteristic. That is what the law of segregation explains. The next law, it is law of independent assortment. So, this particular law, it happens in the when two or more pairs of contrasting characters were there. So, this law is applicable to dihybrid cross made by Mendel. So, according to this law of independent assortment, there are two different characters are here. This is two different characteristics. One is round and yellow. This is green and wrinkled. Round and yellow, wrinkled green is there. So, when the factors or genes of one pair assort independently of the other pairs, that is what the law of independent assortment explains. It tells that even though the characters were different, for example, the round yellow, this is capital R and capital Y, and the other thing is wrinkled green. So, that is small r, small y. These are the parents. So, always what will happen according to this particular law, the law of independent assortment, both factors are always assort with each other to get expressed. That is the reason why we have obtained this as a dominant character. Even you can obtain 3 round green, wrinkled yellow as 3 and wrinkled green as 1. So, this is called assortment. If they are not assort with each other, they will not get the ratio. This ratio will not be there. So, this law explains that when two contrasting characters are there, when they are involved in expression of the characteristics, factors or genes of one pair always assort with independently to the other pair. That means they will fight to get expressed in next generation. That is what it means. This is about the law of independent assortment.